Welcome into another hour of CBS Sports HQ presented by Capital One. Jeremy St. Louis, happy to have you along as we get into a full slate of football games. Week 1 of the college football season is finally here. And as we take a look at some of the big games that are coming up this afternoon, Colorado State and Michigan gets us going at noon Eastern time. Michigan heavy favorites in that one. Oregon versus Georgia. Former Georgia defensive coordinator Dan Lanning, and now the head coach at Oregon, going to see his former team in Atlanta as 16.5-point underdogs. Oklahoma taking on Utep, one of the 3:30 games. Another ranked game, Cincinnati taking on Arkansas. Razorback 6.5-point favorites as those two meet for the very first time in their respective program histories. And Conference USA champions UTSA are welcoming Houston as 4-point underdogs. All right, let's get into some picks for the Week 1 games. And because it's Week 1 with our guys, we're going quad box, the Wizard of Odds. Kenny White, all in black today. You know he means business. John Berger, Chip Patterson, and Mr. Football Game Plan himself, Emery Hunt, making us all look bad by wearing a tie today. All right, gentlemen, let's start. One of the big ranked games Saturday features the former defensive coordinator of the national champions, Dan Lanning, taking on going to Atlanta to face the Bulldogs, Georgia, the national champions, 16.5-point favorites with the total set at 54.5. On Friday, you called this one of the weekend's most dangerous games, John Berger. I'm going to start with you here to explain that.
I get nervous when Kenny's in a black suit. It means business. We'll get into that deeper in the show. So let's take a step back. There's two games, in my opinion, that you need to be careful of. And you're going to have to bet them because there's too much excitement. You're going to want to be part of them. And that's the Ohio State-Notre Dame game and obviously Georgia-Oregon. So what Vegas has done is kind of tighten down the numbers. So what would be a normal swim lane has gotten really, really tight. But we're going to do this anyway. In this particular game, I think you're going to have to place 3 bets on this game to make money. And what I mean by that is, obviously, I think Georgia's going to win the game on the money line. There's no value in that. But use it as a hedge. Take Oregon in the points and take the over in this situation. I think back to what Oregon did to Ohio State last year. They flew a couple of time zones, started it at 9 Pacific. I think everybody in the country, and certainly I did, I was certainly humbled after that experience. I thought they were going to get shoved around the offensive and defensive line. That didn't happen. You circle back to this year, you look at Georgia, all those draft picks off the defense really doesn't make a difference to me. That Georgia defense is going to be flying around. They've got 5-star athletes all over the place. I think this is a situation when you look at Oregon, I think they're going to have one of the top offensive lines, certainly top 10. You got Bo Nix at the quarterback position. He can get hot. He can go cold. I think we're going to get good Bo in this situation. I think Georgia wins the game. I think you take Oregon in the points. And in this situation, I think you take the over. You hedge those out correctly, I think you can make some money.
Yeah, John, early in the season, openers are, anything can happen. It really can, because we don't know what to expect from a lot of these teams. Some will come out clicking on all cylinders. Some will come out that the continuity just isn't there, and it's just not their day. It will happen. There will be upsets today. There's going to be a lot of upsets today. I guarantee you that, because it's year 2 of the upset with 6th-year seniors playing, 7th-year seniors playing. There is so much experience in college football. I love Oregon in this spot. The national champs playing in Atlanta, basking. You mentioned all the starters they lost on defense. Yeah. They do have a lot of talent returning, but they lost so much experience. So it's going to be a little bit of inexperienced defense, very talented, but up against a team that is not going to be, they're not going to be afraid of this situation. Oregon's ready to go. Dan Lanning has prepared his team very well for this game. We're getting 16.5 points with the Ducks. That's a nice cushion to start the year in a game that Oregon's going there to win this game. They're not going to just cover. They're going to win. Bo Nix is an SEC quarterback. He knows what he's up against. Oregon returns 10 players on offense with 8+ starts in their career and 16 on defense. And Dan Lanning knows how to prepare for Georgia. I'm sure there'll be some wrinkles we'll see in this game, but I think this game's going to be a very tough-fought game, and I think Oregon's in it all the way.
Who's that coming down the track? A mean machine in red and black. Are you kidding me? Georgia is going to roll this Oregon team. There is such a mismatch right now, and it starts with Bo Nix against this Georgia defense because Bo Nix is 0-3 against Georgia. And not only that, but Bo Nix is 0-3 against the spread against Georgia. This is not an advantage for Oregon to have the former Auburn quarterback in there leading this offense. I think that it is going to be very much a game that Georgia can rely on its defense and then just lean on Oregon's defense, which, by the way, while it has some fantastic talent throughout the defense, Noah Sewell's one of my favorite linebackers in the country. Justin Flo, when healthy, can be very good. But statistically, this talented Oregon defense was kind of middling. And so I think you lean on the run game, you lean on the best tight end room in the entire country, and all of a sudden it's maybe 0-0 at the end of the first quarter, 14-7 at halftime. Then boom, boom, a couple explosive plays in the third quarter, and the boa constrictor completes its strike. Georgia pulls away, wins by 20. I'll lay the points with the reigning champs.
I'm right there with you, Chip. I see this one very easily. It's going to be 27-20 Georgia, so I'm laying those points with the Bulldogs. It's hard to cover one tight end. Georgia has four. You have Eric Gilbert. You have Brock Bowers. You have the freshman Oscar Delp. You have Darnell Washington. They're going to load up and run this football. They're going to take their timely shots deep down the field with McConkey. So I just love the fact that they still have a lot of the key pieces in place. And on defense, they're facing Bo Nix, who is prone to a big play going the other way. So I love Georgia in this spot. I see it as a slow chokeout for the Ducks.
All right, so the guys on the top, like Oregon in this spot, guys on the bottom are taking the national champions. All right, next up, number 23 Cincinnati heads to Razorback Stadium, first ever meeting with 19 Arkansas. The Bearcats have just 6 wins versus SEC teams in 43 tries. How do you like their odds here as underdogs, Chip?
I don't like them very much. The number, I think, is pretty fair. I think that Arkansas is probably about a touchdown better than Cincinnati. But when having to make my choice, I look at one specific part of this matchup where I do think Arkansas is going to have an advantage. And it is Cincinnati having to replace not the quarterback Desmond Ridder, but both cornerbacks when we're talking about Sauce Gardner and Kobe Bryant. Because those were mainstays and so important to everything that Cincinnati did defensively. And I think that we are going to see these wide receivers for Arkansas, even though, Treylon Burks is gone, that Arkansas coaching staff, led by Kendall Briles as the offensive coordinator, they like the rest of that wide receiver room. So with KJ Jefferson in at quarterback, I really believe that they're going to be able to take advantage of a mismatch, take advantage of a Cincinnati defense that lost so many key pieces for what made them so good. So I will lay those points, especially at the current number with Arkansas. I think they end up winning this game by at least a touchdown.
Yeah, I agree with Chip. I think he's spot on. I'm going to go slightly a different route only because I have some degree of confidence in Luke Fickell, what he can do offensively. I understand that you lost your starting quarterback. They're coming in with 2 different quarterbacks. Not a great equation playing Arkansas. They're going to be stout up front. I'm just not sure about that line. We know what we're going to get out of Arkansas on the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to go a slightly different route, agree with everything Chip said, but I'm going to take the over in this game because I think you're going to see some wrinkles out of Cincinnati offensively that you haven't seen. They're going to have to do that to get these quarterbacks broken in. It wouldn't even surprise me to see both of them going to that short passing game, trying to create some mismatches with some crossing routes, some pick routes, all those kinds of things. I just have confidence that Cincinnati is going to squeeze some points out of this game. I think Arkansas wins, but I'm going to take the over in this situation.
There's a lot of similarities between both teams. They both have great coaches that coach their guys up for the big game. Both teams tend to play well in the big game. And both teams love games like this where they can make a statement. So I see this one being a lot closer than the 6.5 point spread. So I'll go with Cincinnati in the points here. Arkansas's 2 best defensive backs are now starting for LSU. Arkansas lost a lot. Cincinnati lost a lot. Both teams are playing in the first game, so they had a lot of time to prepare. This one will be a lot closer than people think. So I will go Cincinnati in the points here. I do think Arkansas has enough to win, but Cincinnati will keep this one within a field goal or 4 points.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. Emory mentioned it, 2 really solid coaches. Sam Pittman's done a very good job building this Arkansas program up. Love the quarterback, KJ Jefferson. They're going to be an exciting team. They're a great SEC team. But Luke Fickell, one of the best in the business. It wasn't just last year playing in the national championship. He's had dynamite teams, and it's because he's such a great coach. And he knows talent. He knows He knows guys that fit his program. He's got 12 guys back on offense with 8+ starts. He's got 8 guys back on defense. Ben Bryant, I think, will do a great job at quarterback. He's 12-6 ATS the last 4 years in non-conference games, and most of those are big games. They're against better conferences, not weaker conferences. He always plays up. I think he does a great job. This is going to be a great game to watch today. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's back and forth. I think I got 2 ways to win. Cincinnati winning straight up or Cincinnati winning by the points, but I think it's going to be a close game.
A couple of good top 25 games to get things going here as week 1 of the college football season gets underway. Lastly here, the Brent Venables era underway at Oklahoma as the preseason AP poll number 9 team face Utep. The Miners, big underdogs here. Caesars actually pulled the money line down for this game. The total at 57 here, Kenny.
Yeah, I'm going to take Utep in this game. They've got a game under their belt. Oklahoma, obviously, we've got question marks. There's still a lot of talent there for the Oklahoma Sooners, but it's always been a program that they get off to a slow start, it seems, year in and year out. And I think there's just going to be a lot of question marks there. As again, I like teams that have already played a game. That is a big advantage. Coaches say it all the time. The most improvement you see from a football team is from week 1 to week 2. So I'm going to take the 31 points with Utep.
I think this one's easier for me, guys. Bombs away offensively. I understand Kenny's right. Sometimes Oklahoma can start out slow. I don't see that happening. Keep in mind, Gabriel came over at the quarterback position. I think it's going to be bombs away. I think they're going to put big numbers on the board, especially in the second half. I need a little bit of help from Utep, but I think this thing screams take the over. That's what I'm going to do. I think you'll make some money on that one.
Yeah, Oklahoma home overs rolls off the tongue, John, and it's been a principle, so I don't hate that one at all. But I'm actually going to be taking Utep, which would lead to an over. I'm going to take all of those points. Think about what happened with this Oklahoma coaching staff. Cale Gundy out, resigning, and sort of the controversy that was going on around that. The way that Brent Venables has had to settle in with some consternation. There's always been a little bit going on around Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley, his relationship with the local media was never great. And I just wonder if there's so much pressure and so much attention that Oklahoma does come out a little tight. And then, as Kenny mentioned, while UTEP was disappointing in that week 0 performance, they at least were able to get that out of their system. And they did go up against a North Texas team that I think is better than what we expected. So UTEP already got the rust knocked off. Oklahoma playing with a lot of pressure. I think Oklahoma will be able to score with Dylan Gabriel, but I think that UTEP will as well and stays inside this very big number.
I'm not afraid of the big number, to be completely honest. I feel like because of what Chip talked about, that pressure, I feel like they have to win this game in a big way to take some of the smoke off the program that's been around them all throughout the summer and spring. So I look for Brent Venables to tighten up that Oklahoma defense. We won't see this defense get pushed around. I think they'll be able to force UTEP into some turnovers like North Texas was able to do last weekend. So I feel comfortable in laying these 30-plus points for Oklahoma. I think they take care of business because they have to. Otherwise, it could be a problem out there in Norman.
All right, those are the early selections from our guys as week 1 of the college football season continues. We will hear more from them shortly. Plenty more picks still to come. First, let's recap the picks we do have from the guys in terms of Oregon versus Georgia. Kenny and John like Oregon in that position. John also likes the over there. Chip and Emery going the other way in that game. Cincinnati, Arkansas, a big game there for both teams. Liking Cincinnati is Kenny. John says take the over. Emery also likes Cincinnati, and Chip going with Arkansas. And then UTEP, those points, there's a lot. So Kenny and Chip will take UTEP to cover there. John Berger goes with the over, and Emery going the other way. He likes Oklahoma for all those points.